Hello and welcome to another episode of SoFly. It is the end of November, and we're back recording another episode. We've got myself, Mitch. We've got Aldo.
Hi.
And Idis will be joining us soon. He's currently driving home from Mississauga, where he was doing something. I don't know what, a shoot of some kind. But he'll be joining us in a little bit, and we're going to talk today about a very awesome trip that we took, Aldo and Idis took, up to New York. But we've got another very special guest on the show today. We've got Amber Toner. Is that how you pronounce your last name, Amber?
Yeah, that's
okay,
right.
Awesome.
Toner.
Okay, sometimes I get it wrong and I sound like such an ass, you know?
Amber, you're good.
Amber Toner.
Yeah,
Welcome, Amber. Amber's a fly angler and outdoor photographer from Calgary, Alberta. When it comes to photography, the inspiration that fuels her creativity is centered around soft foregrounds and natural light. When it comes to her passion for fly fishing, dry fly sipping trout get her totally fired up. These two aspects of her life intersect with beautiful fly fishing and outdoor images you can see on her Instagram, which is at The Bug Parade. Amber is also a conservationist, keen on protecting and saving Alberta's native trout and their East Slope Rocky Mountain watersheds. Like I said, by we I mean Aldo and Idis, we're lucky to join Amber and a few others from the Reddington crew on a multi-day trip in New York, chasing migratory fish from the Great Lake in the Great Lake Tribs. So we're going to be talking about that trip today, but of course, first, let's get to hear more about Amber's story. Amber, welcome to SoFly.
Oh, thank you guys. Yay. Thanks for having me on. This is so exciting.
Thanks for coming. It's very nice to finally meet you. Been following your Instagram for a while and got some wicked shots.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, it looks like a very cool place to explore out in your neck of the woods. How is it like right now? Is it, is it wintry out there?
It's very cold. It's miserable. Minus 25 with the wind chill Celsius. So, it's really cold.
Wow, it's already minus 25, eh? Jeez.
Yeah, it was super nice last week. It just gets like that. It ebbs and flows a lot in Alberta. So we get reprieve from it sometimes with our Chinooks, but other than that, it gets very cold. So.
Wow, jeez. But that's not stopping you. You're still going out and exploring?
Yeah, we get out quite a bit. We were out on Saturday, actually. We went fishing down on the Bow River. Did some trout spay and didn't catch anything. I fell. Can't even tell you how many times I fell on the ice trying to navigate that crap, but hey, it's okay. Amazing. I'm still walking, so that's good at least.
I love it.
Yeah, back in 2019, I got... Oh, sorry to cut you off there, Mitchie.
No, please, go ahead, my friend.
I was going to say, I briefly got to fish. It wasn't a fishing trip, but I obviously brought my rods because Calgary, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as you should.
So awesome access to the Bow River is just like, right downtown, and it's great fishing. And does it stay like we have it's funny, everybody we talk to, and we'll get to this in New York, but we've got a season here and like a regulated season, whereas does fishing get shut down for you in Alberta or no?
It does like so a lot of our East Slope streams where we fish for cutthroat and bull trout, a lot of those rivers are only open June 16th till October 31st is the last day they're open. Okay. But the Bow, where you can fish it year round. It's awesome. open all year. So it's literally 5 minutes from our house, and there's still lots of accessible water, especially in the city, because we have so many water treatment facilities feeding into the Bow River. Mm-hmm. So that water stays warmer and doesn't quite freeze over, whereas the southern sections of the Bow will freeze right across. You get some pretty sketchy ice jams and stuff like that. So yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. You get trout water though. You can fish kind of, open water. That's cool.
Yeah, and it's a great river to trout spay on, so we do a lot of that in the wintertime, and some nymphing as well, but you're still catching browns and rainbows and pike and all sorts of different stuff out of that river. So
yeah, that is one thing we talked about on this trip to New York was I didn't realize there were pike in the Bow River.
Yeah, they are in the Bow and the Elbow River. The biggest pike I ever caught was below the Glenmore Reservoir on the Elbow River, and it was I don't even know, it was probably like a 15-20 pound pike. It was ridiculously huge. Yeah, it was stupid, and I was not doing the safest form of fishing for it, so anyways, it was a miracle I landed it. But this was a long time ago when I was much younger, so it was a little bit different. Now that I'm a mom, it's a little bit different now that I take more precaution. But yeah, there's huge pike in the Elbow and Bow Rivers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a big fucking pike.
That's a big fish.
Yeah, it was stupid. It was
not a big fish in general.
I couldn't even lift it up. It was ridiculous. So
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say unsafe, were you like fishing like what? Like near like off a rock, like a mountain face
Like
or
in
something?
yeah, like a large embankment. That's probably like, I don't know, 15 feet in the air,
Yeah, nice.
dangling like a streamer through a pool, and yeah, had to
And
like
then
navigate my way down, and
yeah,
it was a little
and then
sketchy. I
and
still
then
landed
became a
it.
mom, and then now you're like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm gonna be really careful here and not.
yeah.
Yeah,
I have to consider my life a little bit more, I think.
good. That's good. I feel yeah, yeah. That makes sense. It's
Yeah.
funny, like the precarious situations we put ourselves in fishing, and then we're like, gotta like, oh yeah, we're just fishing right now. Like, do I want to
Yeah.
pay for this right now?
Exactly.
Love it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well, why don't we just jump into like kind of your fly fishing background, like how you got into it, and photography too. Like, which came first? Was it shooting or casting?
Well, I mean, I have the story I think a lot of people have where I fly fished with my dad when I was a little girl. I
Hmm.
grew up on an acreage just outside of, or right kind of on the Sheep River here in Alberta. It's a really well-known like bull trout river. So I
Nice.
spent a lot of time fishing with my dad. He's big into the outdoors, hunting. He would, gear fish, but fly fish as well. So I did that with him, and then kind of fell out of it. And photography came shortly after in my teenage years when I was going to lots of shows, and I go to like
Yeah,
metal or hardcore shows here in Calgary and take pictures of bands or like the pit or something
yep.
ridiculous like that. But that's
Mm.
how I grew up, and that like kind of kept me on like the straight and narrow really. And then fell back in love with fly fishing later in my 20s. So
Oh, that's awesome. I
early
remember.
20s. Yeah.
I remember going to those hardcore shows, and
I was
there
gonna
was
say,
always
Mitch,
someone
you
with
were
a
a hardcore
camera.
kid.
Yeah, and there's always someone with a camera taking photos of the bands, and
Oh yeah.
going to
That
every
was me.
show. Yeah, I love it. That's awesome.
That was me. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's a cool way
Yeah.
to get into it. Like it's
Hmm.
often that or like skate. Like people shoot
Yeah.
skate or they go to shows, and it's like I'm
Totally.
there. That's how they cut their teeth.
Totally. Yeah, and I'm a fairly creative. I was always a really creative person, so photography was a huge part of that. And then I kind
Yeah,
of just started blending fly fishing and photography together because it takes you to the most beautiful places. So
yeah.
it's perfect for a photographer, really.
Do you remember what your first fish on the fly rod was?
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, no. I probably a rainbow trout. Like from when I was a
Yeah,
kid, it would have been
yeah.
like a rainbow trout or something like that. But yeah, nothing. I don't know. For after that, I think into my adult years, my first fish was a whitefish. So on a nymph
Nice.
in like February. So yeah,
When you got back into it, that's what
when I
you're.
got
That's
back into
awesome.
it. Yeah,
Dope.
Nice.
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's just a ton of whitefish.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot in the bow. Okay,
I
but
love people
they
hate.
can be fun.
People hate on whitefish.
Yeah.
Like they're
I don't know.
Right.
I don't get it. I mean, we're not from out west, so like when we went to Montana, and like mountain whitefish is the bycatch, but I'm like I was kind of stoked to catch one because it's like can't catch them where we're from.
Yeah, that's right. They
It's
still
cool.
whatever. You get a good fight on them. It's okay. They're
Fish is a fish.
whatever. Totally.
Hell yeah. Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, growing up out west, like, I feel like a fishing rod is sort of like, especially like living out in the country, like you said, you were on some acreage, like, fishing rod's kind of just like, another appendage, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people that grow up in the country are like in the outdoors and fishing and hunting and all that stuff. What was it about fishing that, kind of stuck with you beyond the hardcore show years?
I think a lot of it was just that. It was the opportunity to spend as much time outside as possible. So
Yeah.
that was a huge part of my upbringing, and falling back into that, and as an adult, it's now such a huge part of my life now, and with my kid, right? So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, look, we got Adis joining here. Look at him. Adis, we weren't expecting you for another 45 minutes. You're fast.
What a lovely surprise.
So
You're
nice
so quick.
to
One
see
sec.
you.
Let me unmute you here. Let's get your microphone figured out. Yeah, let's figure out the tech specs here because this is the first time Idis has actually ever hooked up. Oh yeah, he's got multiple. Yeah, look at him
Okay.
over there.
All right. Here we go.
All right, you're
There we
good.
go. All right. Okay. All right.
All right.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay.
What I
Okay,
miss?
here, let me just.
We're
get
just
back
getting
to this.
Everything.
We're just getting
Everything.
right into Amber's fly fishing history.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So, okay. Before we talk about that, fly fishing. Idis, welcome to the show. Idis just joined. Welcome home.
Hello. Thanks.
We weren't
Yeah.
expecting you until the back half of the show, but it's good to have you. It's good to have you.
Yeah, we're
because
glad
you're
that
a
you're
fellow
here.
photographer, and we're just about to get into Amber's fly fishing history and fly fishing career. So welcome to the show, Adis.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks. Okay, so yeah, Amber. So what was it about fly fishing that kind of like had you hooked?
I mean, like I was saying before, just the whole outdoors aspect. I love being outside, and it really takes you to so many places. And it's funny because growing up in such a great trout fishery, Alberta's known for, like the Bow River is a blue ribbon fishery, and there's a lot of other great areas in the province. I did a lot of it when I was a kid, but then got back into it in my adult years. And now I have such a larger appreciation for where I'm from because of the places I've explored in Alberta, the places that I didn't really know about prior to. So that's been a big thing. And then fly fishing obviously has taken me other places too, like New York or, to the Bahamas or Mexico or wherever. So I'm super thankful for that because every trip we plan is kind of like fishing focused. Like it's like, what fish can we check off the bucket list in this destination? So
yeah.
I know your kids are quite young. Do they come along ever?
So I have I have a 6-year-old son, and then I also have my stepson. He is 16 now, but I've been in his life since he was like really young. And it's funny, I've really seen a transition with him. He lives in Ontario, he lives in Windsor, and he comes out here to visit us quite a bit. But he started fishing when he was a kid, and then now it's like something he's really into even as a teenager. For me with Lachlan, my son, it was really important to get him outside as much as possible. So even when I was pregnant, up until 8.5 months along, I was hiking rivers and taking him fishing like that. And then the first time he actually spent time on the river, he was 3 months old, and it was the middle of January, and strapped him to my chest and took him to the bow for an afternoon. So
I love that.
It's a big part of it. Yeah, but it's also with him, I'm like really trying not to push it on him. I'm letting him kind of discover his own path in the outdoors and just appreciate being outside. And he loves it. Like tonight he's going to Beaver Scouts. So he's going to like Boy Scouts tonight. He's so excited because he gets to do stuff outside, and he's really into that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of it's because of the way he's been raised so far. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's great to be able to and you have like a fishing buddy that you can
and he likes to fish sometimes, but most times he just wants to play with Hot Wheels and throw rocks or do something. So it's okay.
Well, maybe one day he can, I don't know, row you around.
That's right.
You row the drift boat. The mom and dad let you fish.
That's exactly it. That's 100% what's going to happen.
You pull the skiff when we're in Florida.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. So the photography thing then. So like, when did you start the Bug Parade, and like, how's that journey been? And just like, kind of doing it more as, I guess like a creative project in that sense.
Yeah, I started. So the Bug Parade was my Instagram handle when Instagram first came out in like 2012 or whatever, when everyone was posting like photos of their cats with like weird filters. Like that's what Instagram was back then. So I had no intention of it really turning into a big like fly fishing thing. Yeah, exactly. Like just with the worst filters ever.
Yeah.
Like, here's a picture of my shoes on the stairs. Like, anyways, it was a weird time. But the name comes from a band, or from one of my favorite songs by one of my favorite bands, and it kind of stuck with the fly fishing theme and kind of evolved from there. And I got more
Is that
serious.
My Chemical Romance?
No.
Oh. I don't know. The Bug Parade, the Black Parade, I don't know.
No. The band's called the Polar Bear Club, for anyone who wants to know. But
okay. No, just me? MCR, just me? Okay.
No, hey, man, there was a time in my life where I probably listened to My Chemical Romance. It's okay.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about going to shows.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, no, so it was, I don't know, it kind of evolved from there, and I just kept it, and only in the last, especially in the last year, I've gotten really serious with that aspect of photography. I've been working with brands like Reddington since 2014, so quite a long time.
Wow.
And it's been an awesome opportunity. And that's really where I'm at my happy place, is just going and meeting people and taking photos of like-minded individuals doing something that I love to do as well. I've done like the wedding photography thing. I've done the family photography thing, and those things are great and they pay good, but at the same time, it's not, I don't know, it's that common interest and that common ground being in a place where you all love. It makes it that much more appealing. So I thoroughly enjoy it, and it's been a cool evolution. So
yeah. Is there like a particular like photo or like type of photo you like that sticks out in your mind, or like scenario that you look for, when you go out and shoot, like, Or is it kind of just like, let's go out and adventure and find what we
Yeah, it really is, but just capturing those moments, like those in between moments too. Not just a grip and grin, or I love taking pictures of fish and all of that, but just capturing some of those kind of in between moments. Like with Adis and Ethan, there's some really good photos of him with his brown trout, and they're giving each other like a little smooch. So it was really cute.
Awesome.
But there's like great photos like that, or like
That was pretty awesome.
I've taken pictures of friends who've caught their biggest fish, and like they've got a great photo of them with their fish, but it's their emotion afterwards of releasing that fish. Like that's the kind of stuff that I like to look for, is that lifestyle type stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of more interesting, like, and there's like those little moments are like kind of what makes the fishing trip so awesome, right? So
100%. Yeah,
telling all the stories of everybody.
It's a little, like you said, Michigan. It's like a little story in and of itself. I thought one thing that's cool that you're doing is that daily photo, which must also be a bit challenging. Trying to post a picture every day in 2022, is that the goal?
Yeah, it started. So in January, the very beginning of January, I had COVID, and I was really, really sick. And I was just like, I'm just going to take pictures every day because I couldn't leave. I was in isolation. It was terrible. And then within 4 days into the year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this photo a day challenge. I've taken a photo every day so far. What's another 361 days? So I went for it. And
good point.
I mean, it's a lot. And like taking that intentional image every single day is a big thing, and I am proud of myself for keeping with it. Some photos aren't great, but then other ones I'm really, really proud of. So it's been a process. I don't think I'll ever do it again, but I'm happy to almost be at the end. And it's been great for me creativity wise too, because it's really pushed me to see things differently. And now I step in the outside and I just see things around me a lot differently because I'm looking for that photo all the time, right? So
right.
Seems like it's been kind of a nice creative outlet as well, outside of like working as a professional photographer, just having something to take pictures of just for the sake of taking pictures.
Yeah, absolutely. Like just of anything, the way that, dew looks on a blade of grass, or like stuff like that, where you're just looking where light is constantly and what kind of image you can create out of it. So that's been I think it's enhanced my photography for sure this year.
It's kind of dope too, like as parents, like you and I, just you too, like taking photos of everything, like throughout, your kids' like early days and on. They're gonna have like this catalog they can go back and look at. It's kind of dope. They're gonna have like this reference image library of just like their life,
Oh
I
yeah,
feel like the amount of photos that you take of your kids as they get older just like slowly drops down. Until
you're 8 now. Like
I got one for the year. We're good.
It's the 8-year-old birthday party. And then,
that's right.
Nothing more.
That's right. Yeah.
It's cool.
I mean, it is kind of cool. It kind of like that's a bigger conversation about photography, about like why people take photos in the first place. But it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because you'll just have like photos too of just like your life and your adventures and stuff like that, especially fly fishing wise, and like I don't know, it's cool. Your kids can be able to go back and like look at that stuff. I don't know, it's sort of a nice byproduct in a way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So now when it comes to fly fishing, what gets you excited? Like what kind of fly fishing? What is your like ideal fly fishing situation?
I mean, I love dry fly fishing. I love just watching fish eat really in general. Like I'm sure most anglers would say that. I just thoroughly enjoy that part of it. And it's there's a lot of technical type rivers here, where they're like small creeks, and you have to be really delicate with your presentation. I love casting. That's one of my favorite things to do. I'm a way better caster than I am at actually catching fish. So there's that. So I like putting myself in those situations where you're having to present a small dry fly to feeding fish and try to anticipate what lane it's in and all that kind of stuff. So that's my bread and butter. But it's part of that like evolution of an angler too. Whereas when I started out, I just wanted to catch fish all the time. I didn't care how I was doing it, right? So
yeah, totally. Yeah, now it's more selective.
Yeah,
I get you. I feel that. I can't wait for the spring. Oh my god.
Oh my god, I know. Dry fly time. I mean, I was about to say something and it was going to sound rude, so I stopped myself. I was like, I can attest to that after you said you're good at casting but not catching fish. But I'm like, we're going to get to the fact that you caught a bunch of fish. But I will say, we were all watching you cast and we were like,
oh god,
damn, like
dialed,
like super dialed, especially because we've just been like spending the whole day just like lobbing indicator rigs, and then you were like out there like casting them so nicely.
Oh,
and
thank you.
Oh, yeah. I guess we could have been casting this whole time, but fuck it.
Just lob,
I was like,
lob
We'll get to
weight.
that.
That's not even casting. Like for me, it was just like some little roll casts. But hey,
Yeah.
it was fun. It was good.
Yeah,
Thank
there
you
you
for
go.
saying that.
Yeah, no. Your cast is gorgeous.
Thank you.
Which is cool.
Have you ever fished out here in Ontario, Amber?
I have a couple of times when we've gone to Windsor, and in the area, and like out by Goderich. What is that river?
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Maitland?
the Maitland, the Saugeen, probably.
yeah, one of those ones that we knew a guy out there who took us for steelhead out there one time,
Nice.
long time ago. I've done a little bit of it, not near enough. It's such a different, like even, I mean, I know we'll talk about New York, but the fishing out east is so different than how like I'm used to fishing here, right? So especially the way we were doing it for those fish there. So yeah, it was definitely a learning experience for me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, way different. I mean, it sucks here. I'm kidding. It doesn't. But it is.
Maybe that's a good transition. Talk about the New York trip.
A lot different, certainly a lot different. Whoa, Frankie, easy there, baby.
Frankie's freaking out.
Oh,
All those dogs.
Frankie.
All got a new dog. Frankie. She's sitting under
So
the desk,
cute.
Just eating.
freaking out,
She's eating snacks.
eating your winter boot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, yeah, I think maybe if you got to fish the Maitland, like that's pretty cool because all those fish are naturalized, which is cool.
Yeah.
Saugeen, they're stocked.
Right.
So yeah, hopefully it was the Maitland because that's it.
I'm pretty sure that sounds
Cool
right. I mean, like it was
Cool
a long
friggin'
time
place.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super fun.
But to your point, Mitch.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we let's just launch into this New York trip, and I'm gonna pause my mic and
Pause your mic,
get
and
some
I'm
treats.
gonna say, what the heck are the deets around this trip, Amber? Like, what was the deal with this trip? Who went? Where'd you go?
We went to Rochester, New York, and it was. I mean, when I told people I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to New York," they're like, "Oh my god, I love New York City." I was like, "No, I'm going to like upstate New York." But
They're
so
like,
that's just
where?
like that's most people I work with who don't fish and don't understand, like, right?
Yeah.
So they just
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
like. Why would you go to Rochester? It was actually such a cool little city. It was fun to tour around there. I love those like old colonial houses. Like the architecture was super cool. So it was really, really neat. So yeah, it was myself there and Aldo and Adis and Demisha came, who I hadn't met, but I've always wanted to meet her. She's so rad. It was so much fun. And then Ethan as well. So who is hilarious. Yeah.
He is way funnier in person than on like he really comes out of his shell,
Oh yeah.
And we had David from at Very Good Fly Fishing. He was super cool. And then Ethan's cast of characters, New York characters.
Yes.
various friends and guides and things like that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It was a good group of people.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, upstate New York's dope. I mean, like the Great Lake trips are wicked, and I've always heard so many good things about the steelhead runs, like on the other side of the border. Like people like here are always like our steelhead fishing's it's cool here, but they're like, oh, if you can get up to like upstate, you're gonna have some pretty good days. Like the fish days can be insane on certain rivers.
I think I need to correct something quickly because I always call it upstate, but Rochester is actually Western New York.
Oh, okay. Hey, learn something.
I don't
new.
know if you remember those ads, Mitch. Welcome to Western New York.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Do you ever,
Anything north of New York City, I'm just like,
I know. I say that too. I'm like,
New York.
that's upstate. It's just
It's upstate.
So
It's upstate. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
We're sorry, Rochester in Ington's Western New York.
Rochesterites.
Rochesterites. There you go.
That sounds great.
Western New York. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
But the fishing was, how many rivers did you guys fish? What was the deal?
3, I think.
3.
Yeah.
Three.
3.
4?
3, 4, 3 or
3,
4?
4.
Four?
Oh yeah, 4.
Okay.
4?
You're
Okay.
right. Although
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, Idis and I hit the road. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna make just really quickly because we had
Just give us a
two
little
different, very
recap.
different,
Very different.
getting there trips.
Mm-hmm.
Idis and I, we had to drive 2 hours. Demisha followed us. We followed her. We stopped off in Buffalo for wings at the Anchor Bar because it's the birthplace of the Buffalo chicken wing.
Yeah, wait. What? I saw that on the sign. What the fuck is that? Like, that's where buffalo chicken wings were invented?
That's right.
In Buffalo?
In Buffalo.
I just thought that was a coincidence. That's crazy. Were they good?
the
And
real
be
deal.
honest, were they good? Like, have you had better buffalo chicken wings somewhere else? Like Indiana,
Yes.
didn't we have some pretty good wings in Indiana?
I mean, you know, as far as wings go, like, it's really hard, I think, to. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it hard to fuck up a wing? It's pretty hard to fuck up
Yes.
a wing.
I guess
feel
you
like it
undercook
is.
it.
You know,
Yeah.
unless you're over it's super dry. What I love about the Anchor bar, the original one anyway, is like it's like this
Yeah.
crazy old bar that's been there forever, and it's just kind of zany. It's got pictures
Yeah.
from
Right.
like the hundreds and hundreds of years it was open, and as the story
That place
goes,
is insane.
it's insane.
Really?
Oh
Is
yeah,
it big? It looked huge.
it's big, but also
That's awesome.
small. Like it
Yeah,
feels
it's
intimate.
big
like-
with many small spaces.
Yeah, and it had a funny like stage
Strange.
that they just used to just
Chairs.
house like baby chairs.
Yeah. Oh, the stage was shaped like the bow of a boat.
Wow. I really
It-
missed
Like
out
the
on
back
this.
of a boat.
You did miss
Yeah.
out. Well, yeah.
No, you didn't.
It was you didn't. No, not really.
No,
They were
okay.
wings.
It was
So that was
just,
the first stop.
It was the
Buffalo
first stop.
chicken wings in Buffalo.
it was good. It was good. The wings were good. It was just something you have to do, and then we just kept going to Rochester, and then we checked into our zany Airbnb.
Yeah.
We got there. The cleaning crew was still there, and they were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize
You were
my trip to like
coming here.
Safeway took so." Oh
What were they
shit!
doing?
That's today. Well, okay, so we open the door and the whole place just reeks like weed,
Oh, amazing.
and they're like, "Oh, right, our trip to the Safeway took too long. We ran out of cleaning stuff, and
fuck?
we're just like, okay.
Can we just come in? Like,
Can I pee? Like, is that something that can happen?
yeah. This was like it was like 5:30.
So they were just sitting inside playing like Mario Kart and smoking weed.
Pretty much, probably.
You're like,
Well, it's
we're we're here. We're
I
the
don't think
guests.
none of us really care. We're like, whatever, but just keep doing your thing. Can we come in at least? Like, can we
Yeah,
just go
yeah.
inside? It's cold.
Awesome.
It's like you can hang out and clean all you want.
Yeah. So
Amazing.
yeah, we checked in, and Amber was getting in. You're getting in a little bit later because you were obviously flying from what was
The
your
other
route?
side of the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I flew from Calgary to Chicago and then Chicago to Rochester.
Oh,
wasn't
okay,
too
so
bad.
Rochester's got an airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, decently sized city, made famous by Frank Lloyd Wright.
That's right.
And the town we were in was called Pittsford. Not Pittsburgh,
Right.
Pittsford, New York.
You said it was really nice.
It was
Pittsford.
really nice.
Yeah,
Hey,
it was
y'all?
very classy.
Like a polished,
It's
nice
a
kind of
classy little
sweater
town.
vesty kind of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh
time.
yeah, you could rock a sweater vest there. Yeah,
Yeah,
twinkly
you
lights.
would feel
everywhere.
at home.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
Get a sweater vest on. Go down to the library.
Oh,
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting because, you do drive Western New York, Buffalo, and it's a pretty
Yeah.
industrial place. Lots of farms, lots of
Yeah.
old, factory workers type
Yeah.
things. Even on your way there to you're driving the QEW from Toronto to Niagara, it's industrial. It just is.
Yeah.
Going through
Yeah.
Hamilton, and so when we got to Pittsburgh, and it's like rolling hills and streams and quaint little Stars Hollow, Gilmore Girls vibes. And it's like, yeah, I watch Gilmore
Good
Girls,
description. Hey, that's
Yeah.
really good.
and I was like, oh, cute, and we did a hilarious check-in, and then was just waiting around, basically for Amber.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So then you got in, and the cleaning staff was gone. You guys kind of just hung out and had all the all
Yeah,
the gear ready.
I unfortunately
stuff.
didn't get the privilege of meeting the cleaning staff, but no.
Yeah. Well, there's always next time.
Yeah, hey.
I love it.
Yeah, we spooled up the reels. We went to a really cool arcade bar and got. I just had never played Guitar Hero before. We played Guitar Hero.
Oh my god,
And-
amazing.
Guitar Hero.
I'm so sad I missed this.
You never played Guitar Hero before until then?
I am
That's
actually Amber. I am sad you missed it. That bar was fun.
I love Guitar Hero. That was like my claim to
Yeah.
fame when I was in my early 20s. Okay? Like
Yeah,
most of
that
us.
game- Best.
Damn.
Just
Game was the
saying.
bomb.
Next time.
Still is, baby.
Yeah.
Still is.
It was pretty fun. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we just tried to get ready for the next day because we were fishing in and around Pittsford. We were going to be fishing Irondequoit Creek,
Okay.
and we were going to see how that was going, and then we were going to go check out, if that didn't work out, 18 Mile Creek, which we did end up.
Fishing.
Because we actually did get a bump of rain, which I think most famously people from around these parts, Southern Ontario,
Yeah.
whatever, and Western New York, we haven't gotten any rain. We're getting a lot of rain this week. It's November 28th now. This comes out December 1st. So we're starting to get rain, but we're pretty rain weather free for a good month there.
Yeah, so it came in the nick of time.
So we got a bump, which was nice, but not a crazy amount, and it was cool. We woke up the next day, stressed Ethan out at the Tim Hortons.
Early. It was early, okay? Like, especially for me, coming from out west, it was early because we were up at 6.
Yeah.
That's true.
Or we were up at 5:30 or whatever, so it was like 3:30 my time. So I was like, God damn it, this is a lot.
Yeah.
So we were up, like, we
caffeine.
started at 6 every day.
I know.
And then, then we went to Tim Hortons.
I know.
A bunch of Canadians go to
sleep
Tim
over.
Hortons
Yeah.
in New York. Why not?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Tim
it.
Hortons is different in America.
It really is.
Is it?
You can
What
get Red
was
Bull
different about
in
it?
your Tim Hortons items.
Yeah, you want Red Bull in your coffee? You
problem.
can get it, brother.
Oh yeah. Whatever you want.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
I mean, it sounds like maybe that's kind of what y'all needed.
Yeah.
I think
Maybe.
sleep and less drinking probably would have been,
Right.
It's
thing.
also
But that's
No
helpful.
fun.
but not realistic.
Yeah, it's not.
No,
It's not a fishing trip.
No.
So you got Timmy's, you got your Red Bulls, got some Timbits. And
Yes.
then what'd you do? Went to the river?
Yeah, we met. What was his name? Chris.
Chris,
Ethan had a friend of his, very nice dude named Chris, who was a guide in the area and now is just an avid angler. And we were checking out. Would it be fair to call it an urban stream?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Like right downtown Pittsford, called Irondequoit Creek. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And the interesting thing about where we were is not only do you get the migratory rainbows of Great Lakes steelhead, but you also get they've been talking a big game about these lake run browns, which was something that we got in the GTA here in Toronto for a long time, but unfortunately they've been kind of poached out or hard to come by.
Right.
To put it
They get a
politically.
bit of pressure.
Yeah,
Wonder
it's
where
like,
they
wow.
went.
And
They just decided to stop coming.
yeah, that's it.
No.
Yeah,
They're
they're like, you
like,
know
they
what?
had
Fuck
enough.
Toronto.
Yeah.
Fuck my,
We're going to
my
vacation in Rochester.
But
I love it.
there's a healthy population in and around where we were.
Yeah.
And so we were hoping to find them in Irondequoit Creek or Steelhead or anything really, and that's where we started our day. First impressions of the river, Idas?
Oh, it was great. It was awesome. That it was
Yeah.
like for an urban river. Like I fish the Humber a lot because it's right next to my house, and it feels urban. This little river system. This felt like for where we fish. It felt like the Credit. It's like beautiful pocket water, lots of riffles, lots of it was this like Aldo and I were there, and we're walking past this great water. And we're like, what about right there? Can we go right there? Right? What about right there? Every little spot we just like walk by. Aldo just jumps in. And they're like, no, we're gonna keep going down here. It was awesome. It was great. And there's like walking trails everywhere. You see people. There's the parking lot's 2 minutes from the river.
Yeah. Tons of great water.
Yeah, it was great.
That's a good question. Does the Bow River, Amber, ever feel urban to you? Because we fish
Oh, yeah.
urban streams here, and you can
Yeah.
see the CN Tower, so you're like,
Oh yeah, you can
Okay.
fish. You can fish right downtown Calgary on the Bow, and then the Elbow River also feeds into the Bow River, and that goes right through downtown Calgary. Comes from the mountains, feeds into a big reservoir that's the drinking water for the city pretty much, and then goes down and feeds into the Bow. But like the Calgary Stampede is really famous here, and there's like one shot I've always wanted to get of like someone casting on the Elbow River when the fireworks are all going off and stuff like
Oh,
that. Like
that'd be
it's
cool.
pretty. It's a cool, definitely to me, that's like super urban type fishing. So that feels, it can feel real urban for sure.
yeah. This definitely felt very quaint.
It did.
And,
Right.
to Idas's point, I was like, well, I'm just going to start fishing.
Yeah.
And we started catching, or at least I did, resident browns, which was awesome. They weren't huge or anything, but they were, resident browns, and I hadn't caught a resident brown. I didn't really trout fish this year in Ontario, aside from up north in Temagami, to be honest.
Yeah.
So that was
And the
really
season's
fun.
open? The season's open for resident browns on that river?
Oh yeah,
Sure
buddy.
is.
No
That's
season.
sick.
Yeah,
What? Let's go.
dude. There's no season.
You guys are
Let's
so
go.
close.
You really?
Yeah, we're like a couple hours away, right?
Yeah,
That's
man.
amazing.
I would go all the time if I lived up there.
Honestly,
for real.
yeah. It kind of did change. It's a really good point, Amber. It kind of changed my perspective on things.
Yeah,
Well, we often do drive like an hour, 2 hours to get to some rivers, so it's like just do that.
Just
You know?
do that and go visit our friends in Rochester.
That's
Yeah,
great.
cool.
That was a fun. So that was a fun morning. I don't know, Amber, what was going through your head? Because you had
Yeah, it
to
was
you had to capture
beautiful.
this thing. So I didn't. You know, you were looking
as
at
we
it
all just
and
took off into the
as-
woods.
fishing. We're like, okay, bye,
Running
see ya.
away.
Oh yeah, you guys were raring to go. It was like I had to play catch up a little bit, but it was awesome though. No, it's such a it's just a very unique landscape compared to where I'm from. Especially all the trees, like it's all very different from here. So that was really cool to actually be in that kind of environment. And yeah, it was a beautiful spot. It wasn't what I anticipated for our first stop, and then when we moved to 18 Mile, it was even more impressive from there for sure. Scenery wise, it was beautiful.
Yeah. The Great Lakes trips, like in the fall, are just such a vibe. You know.
Well,
Yeah.
it's such an interesting, area geographically, right? Like if you think about it, we're not that far from Niagara Falls, so you're on a big elevated escarpment, and most of these rivers have carved through the land. So where we were on 18 Mile, we were, we parked where we parked. We had to walk down, several, 100 meters, and all of a sudden you have these like giant shale cliffs, which was really cool. Beside you, and we had heard stories.
That's on the Niagara, right?
No, this was on the 18 Mile Creek on their first day.
Oh, cool. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, so like
Yeah,
This
this
was
was
a
all
big
on the
day.
first day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, dang, cool. Wow.
Yeah.
This was
18 miles, kind of like almost like maybe like the Big Head. That's some parts, where you get those big
I guess
walls
These
of.
cliffs were bigger.
much bigger.
Really, eh? Cool.
Oh,
Yeah. And it was all rock.
Wow.
It wasn't sand. So
And much
like,
Missed out.
Yeah. It was all shale.
Yeah. Like really loose shale too.
yeah, like it was
Cool.
falling.
Not
It was
ideal,
pretty-
really.
No.
Easy wading, or was it kind of like tricky wading?
It was slippy.
I just
mean,
took
you
a tumble.
fell.
Yeah,
That's
for a
right.
swim.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Took a
yeah.
tumble?
Oh, he went like for
Oh.
a full swim.
I
I
mean,
gotcha.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
shit, eh?
Camera
I
was
didn't
But
get
hey,
any water in the waders. Camera's fine.
That's good.
I was
That's
just
good.
finished. I thought I was going to go in for repairs. I just finished shooting with it. It was totally fine.
Perfect.
How was the first day fishing for you, Idis? Like, did you get any fish?
First day. Did we? I think I got a small steelhead at the end of the day.
That's right.
But
Okay.
it was fun. I mean, like I feel like we were pretty fired up and just kind of like
Yeah,
just
exploring.
going pretty crazy in there. Yeah.
I was having a blast on Irondequoit. Like
Yeah.
I was happy to go to 18 Mile, but like I was like catching a shitload of fish on
Yeah.
on Irondequoit.
You
Oh, yeah,
were,
you-
yeah. You're just
You-
slaying over there.
You picked up like a dozen.
Yeah.
Were you Euro nymphing, Aldo?
No, well, I don't know if I would call it
Kind
Euro
of?
nymphing. Like it was kind of like we had like 8 weights, and I was catching like 10-inch
Oh.
fish because we
Yeah.
were hoping to catch like something a lot.
Oh,
bigger.
I see. You were
Yeah.
prepped for steelhead. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were all prepped for steelhead and these lake ground browns, right? So, but we got to Irondequoit and we got to 18 Mile, and we saw some steelhead rolling, and Chris hooked into a really nice buck, and it jumped once or twice and shook the hook, unfortunately. But at least we saw some fish pushing through, and it was pretty busy. But yeah, that day one was
Yeah.
pretty freaking fun.
Did
Yeah.
anybody else
Yes,
hook
sir.
up with anything on 18 Mile?
I wouldn't
Or just
say
the- just
anything
Chris?
like
Ethan caught a small fish, a small
Little
trout.
shaker? Yeah.
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 All right, so that first day was a little bit like, okay, well, we're getting our footing, and
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
been a
Yeah.
whirlwind.
It
It
was.
was.
Then we went for dinner. We got
where'd
some
you get dinner? Oh, I think I saw pictures of this.
Oh my god, that's
what
right.
was
I
this
like,
place you guys went?
Oh,
where you had
Garbage
like
Plate.
chili
We went
on
to we
Wonder
went
Bread.
to what was it called? Dogtown.
Dogtown. All day.
And was this like Ethan? Was
Yeah.
Ethan like, you guys are gonna
Yeah.
go crazy about this
Yeah,
place?
yeah.
Of course.
all
right?
day?
Oh, yeah.
Like a
All day
local
he's
thing,
talking it
right?
up. He's
Oh,
like, oh man, it's the
Garbage plate.
best. It's the best food. It's so good. It's this giant. He's like, it's a garbage plate. It's everything. It's like a burger and chili and hot dogs. And we're like, whoa, man, sounds
That
wild.
sounds awesome.
It
that
sounded
sounds awesome.
insane.
and
And
it
even
was
Chris was
insane.
like, oh man, I'm jealous. Yeah, it was insane. To be honest though, it was like it was a reasonable amount of food. It was not unreasonable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was definitely like a place you go after like drinking at
Drinking.
a dive bar. Then you go
Yeah.
to this place. right? And
I
get
love
like a pile of food.
Literally a
Ophelia is
pile
just, like,
on the
flying
plate.
in the back.
Yeah, I know. I love that.
I just
Hi, Ophelia.
Ophelia's like behind you. It looks like a ghost.
If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see a small child flying into all
Bruce is
Idis's
back
door.
there too. Oh, she hasn't even seen
So
me. She was in the
funny.
tub when I came home. I
Looks
just
like
like ran in and
It
ran
looked
in
like
the
a horror
office.
movie for a second. It was just like a floating unit.
It's like, is
She's right
Idis
behind
about
you.
to-
I'm like, Ada's, turn around! The murderer is in your house.
Oh my god.
Anyway, but yeah, we had the garbage. I didn't.
Okay, so garbage plates.
I
of
didn't
just,
have
like,
a garbage.
meat
Amber, I can't
on
remember what you
white
ordered.
bread.
I just had a hot dog.
No,
was
I didn't
like,
have a curd. I had Philly cheesesteak, I think, or something like that.
or something.
Yeah.
I was like,
Tanisha and I
Something
both
kind
did.
of normal.
I'm not fucking
I had the
doing that
garbage
to
plate,
myself.
man. I
It
went
looked
for it.
gnarly, man.
I saw the pictures. It looked whack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I'm with you though, Idis, man. I mean, if
When-
I was
when in
there,
Rome,
man,
baby.
I'd have been
See,
getting into that garbage.
You would have
plate.
definitely gotten into it.
Yeah.
Normally-
get like a nice crisp bush lager
no beer.
and a
No beer there.
pile of garbage.
No beer.
There was no beer.
At,
beer.
this, at this place, there was beer, but there wasn't any beer.
At this place,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
All
All right, so a pile of garbage, and
Yeah.
then you go have beer after. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
hung
Cool.
out at the
That was day
Airbnb. That was day one.
And then we got into some crispy boys at the Airbnb.
What was the garbage place called again?
Dog,
I'm calling it the garbage
dog
place.
bone.
Dogtown?
Dogtown.
Dogtown.
Dog pile would be
Dogtown.
good
Okay.
though.
Dog pile's kind of cool.
They had some sick
It was a
merch.
cool spot. Yeah,
It
they
did
had
some
pictures
really
of
good merch.
people's dogs everywhere. It was
Yeah.
cool.
Honestly,
Yeah,
it was a
the
super
t-shirts.
cute place. It was a super cute
It
place.
was. It was
The
good.
Okay.
The service, like the people working the counter, was super nice. Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
cute,
Yeah.
like dog related merch. Obviously, like the main
Oh, fun.
the main menu is it's a hot dog place. It's a hot dog shack.
Well, okay. Right.
So
hot
it's like
dogs and
it's hot dogs
burger
and then this
piles.
garbage plate. Yeah,
it's not
we're
called a
really
garbage
spending a
plate.
lot of
Another
time
thing.
on this.
So
Is it called
No,
garbage
no,
plate?
no.
Because I mean, like, I don't want to talk shit here. Like, I've
it's
never
definitely
even
not
been
that's
called.
like
that was
a-
all Ethan.
well, Chris
There's
was
no
also
menu
like,
what the
item called
locals
garbage
call
Oh,
plate.
okay.
dude, people were texting us like after I posted that. They're like, garbage plates, yeah. I was like, okay, garbage plates.
It's like a local,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like one of those things.
It's a
you know?
thing.
It was like
Yeah.
the thing. The garbage plate thing was just like the works. That's all it was
Right.
called. It's like everything
Right.
on a plate.
Yeah,
in a
Okay,
pile.
cool. Dang. So it's like where the locals go. It's like the local
think so.
institution.
I think
Yeah.
I think
Nice.
if I was like if I was just leaving a hardcore show wasted in my youth,
Oh,
There you go.
I would
you're going
be at
straight
Honestly.
there.
that looks like
Just want a pile of
yeah.
the works.
a
I feel like
pile
that's
of
their bread
carbs.
and butter.
Anyway, so
Okay.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah,
good to
good
know.
to know.
Well, it's for people planning their trips to Rochester. You know,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
good. They go
Go to
honestly,
Dog Days.
Rochester had a ton of cool. Like, I wish we had spent maybe a little more time walking around just to like get our bearings, because every time we went out for dinner,
Right.
it was like cool. I was like, oh, there's a bar I would probably
Mm-hmm.
go to, or like there's a shop I would definitely check out or something, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, it was, like we said, it was a 3-day whirlwind adventure, and yeah. So then day two.
So what was day 2? Yeah.
So this is the day we were really like all kind of looking like we were looking forward to the whole thing. But day 2 was like
Sure.
Ethan had lined up some private, a friend of his,
Yeah, private
Jesse, who was our guide for the day. Awesome dude, very calm.
Super calm.
Had access from a friend of his who's a landowner, and on
Okay.
Sandy Creek, and which is really interesting piece of water, because again, like Irondequoit, it was small, you know, and they were expecting, and we're seeing pictures of the fish that like Jesse was pulling out of there, and we're talking like, you know,
Yeah.
browns from 25 to 35 inches, you know, browns that, like hit double digits
smokes.
in, you know, double digits in poundage, and really good steelhead, and we saw the stream and we're like, out of here. Like it was not big, you know.
It's like a creek.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it was small.
yeah, it was small, and it was
Jeez.
cold that day, guys.
Oh yeah,
Oh my god.
it was
so
cold. It was overcast. It was
Oh, yeah.
windy.
Oh man. So marginal day, marginal conditions
It was a steelhead
for
day.
humans. Yeah.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like pile it on. You're getting wet. It's damp. Luckily, we didn't have to walk at all. We parked on
Yeah.
Jim, was it?
I think
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah,
Jim.
Jim was a landowner.
Awesome
Jim,
guy.
shout out to
So
Jim.
cool.
Keeps a sizable apiary. Produces honey.
Cool.
Really cool. And dare I say, Jim was a little sweet on Demisha. I think he was crushing. I think Jim was crushing on Demisha.
He was so cute. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
He
a
was
gem.
adorable.
He was.
Yeah, he really was.
Just talking about bees. It was awesome.
Oh, it was great.
And then,
It was fun chatting with him too, like how he was like he was pretty selective about who he lets fish there, and how he was kind of like helping revitalize the river there and the fish population by like educating anglers and kind of getting more involved with the river. It was really nice to hear him talk
protecting
about
it and
yeah,
being a steward.
no, his
That's
name
cool.
was Jim, not Stuart.
whoa.
What the heck?
Oh
Funny
my
fuck.
goodness.
Dad jokes are
Wow.
Holy smokes.
Okay.
Jeez.
Okay.
How was the fishing? Was it good? Like, did you all like catch
It
some-
was slow at first. Like,
Yeah, it was a grind.
it was like by 11 o'clock, I was like, damn, okay. This is
It's
going to
not
be,
happening. Yeah.
Ethan
this is a slow day. Yeah.
Ethan was even
You
like,
and David just like taking pictures of people standing around.
Yeah, literally, and we weren't moving. Like,
No.
I walked downstream with Ethan the one time. But I'm so used to fishing and like constantly moving. And we
same.
were just like literally at that one pool.
Yep.
And just like
Yeah.
I was taking the same picture over and over again. I was like, oh no, this is not good for what I'm getting paid
No.
for to be,
Yeah.
to be
Right.
here.
And it
So I was a
wasn't,
little bit
honestly,
nervous.
it was a nice river, but it's like it wasn't like an incredibly unique setting. Like it was a river kind of running through some fields type thing.
Some farm
So
Yeah.
fields.
there's not like
Right.
even like cool landscapes to shoot or anything.
No, yeah, which is
Yeah.
why I was like, I'm
And it was
using
very
my prime lens and
gray.
I'm blurring the background out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very
Very
gray
gray.
day, you know.
Very
so, but
Right.
then, you know, like we just when we started thinking, like even Ethan was like, well, maybe we'll just leave and go back to Irondequoit and fish around Pittsford near the Airbnb. You know, this is kind of a bust.
Right.
Everyone's cold. But then, you know what?
Yeah.
We had a beer. We had some snacks.
We had some donuts.
We had
That
some
was also
donuts.
crucial.
And then I hooked up on a smallish brown. And we were like,
Okay.
oh,
So it started to turn.
okay. And then 2 casts later, I hook up again.
Yeah.
And it's an Atlantic salmon, a landlocked Atlantic.
Mm.
And we're like, okay, well, that's
nice.
kind of cool.
Mhm.
And then there's another group fishing the river, and they left. And so we started. This one guy was obsessed with this bend, this corner bend, and I went down to see what he was so obsessed about. And there was like a bunch of browns hanging out by a Chinook salmon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess they were just waiting for it to drop eggs to eat. And we're like, okay, things seem to be happening. And then all of a sudden, it was just like
It got out of control.
it just got out of control. Like the fish just started falling from the skies. Like I don't know
Yeah,
what
it's
happened.
wild.
Oh my God,
Like
that's awesome.
it must have been like I don't know if they were there. Like Jesse was explaining that sometimes all it takes is a degree or two in temperature
Yeah.
change
Right.
to turn the fish on. And he was looking at his temperature graphs. He's like, "Listen, guys, I know it sounds crazy. We're gonna stay here, right here, all
Okay.
day."
You called it.
And he's like, and we're just gonna wait until this temperature changes. And he's like, and you know, and hopefully,
Wow.
2 things happen. Hopefully, we get a push of fish, and hopefully that it coincides with the temperature changing.
Mm.
And then it just rained fish.
Yeah.
Like
on.
It was wild.
honestly
It was like-
did. It was like 2 hours of insanity.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Wow.
Like, everyone
like-
was
I was-
getting fish.
I was like dangling shiners down, and like no one's even around. I was like, oh, I caught a fish. And I was like, does anybody want to take a photo or anyone? Everyone had like walked away.
Yeah, we all had to
Yeah.
like kind of snap into it because we were just like we were just like cold and not used to catching anything. Yeah, you know, doinks went on the swing,
Yeah.
and then it was just
It
like
was, it was on.
it was just on.
Everybody started catching fish.
Amber the
Yeah.
And that's when some nice fish started showing up, eh?
Amber
Yeah.
your fish was so sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the
You got a
funny
nice one,
thing
Amber?
because you guys had all caught so many fish already, and it was and then David got in there and
Oh
he
my
was
God.
coming to shoot video, right? So we were joking that him and I are the media team, and he's like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna go cast for a bit," and he hooks into like a big brown and loses it, and then I don't know, like maybe 10 minutes later, he hooks into another one, and it was the biggest fish of the trip, for
easily.
sure.
Oh, wow.
It was just
sick.
a insane
Total
fish.
beef.
It was a beef.
Beefy brown, eh? It was a lake run brown, LRB.
It was an
Oh,
Yeah,
LRB.
it was just
an LR beef.
It was very beautiful.
And it was crazy because like I was swinging flies all day, and everyone else was indicator fishing, and we were fishing over each other, like we were crisscrossed and still catching fish. It didn't matter.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it was wild. And then
And Amber, what was your fish like? What was your like the experience with yours? You got a nice one too, right?
I did, yeah. Awesome. I got a nice male, so he had a nice little kype on him. It was a really nice fish. And yeah, I just went in there and was like, well, I'm gonna cast it. I've taken all the pictures in this spot that I literally can probably take. Like I was taking pictures of like dead blades of grass at this point. Like I had literally everything that you could take.
Everything covered.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I'll get in there. Sure, I didn't really anticipate catching anything, and then I was just casting and just kind of enjoying being out there. And then I hooked in. It was a shitty hook set. I'm surprised. I'm surprised I kept that fish on because it wasn't the best hook set, but awesome. Yeah, and then I landed him, and it was just a really exciting experience to land that fish with all you guys there, and everyone was cheering after. It was good. It was a super fun time. But Jesse, right, was our guide's name.
Yeah,
he came out and he was changing up some stuff on my rig, and I had no, like I've never fished stuff like that before, so I just let him do his thing. He's like, hey, you got 4X tippet on now though, so you have to remember if you catch something, like you got to play it safe because there's 4X on here. So the whole time I had that fish, all I could think about was I only had 4X tippet on. I can't manhandle this fish too much. Like I got to be delicate with fighting it. So I was glad that
nice.
I landed it. So yeah, it was good.
It's a good point that you bring up because that despite all the rain, that river was running clear, like really clear.
Yes.
So,
really?
sizing down on the tip, it was a good call for clearly. And that fish was chonky.
It was a nice one.
It was a nice one.
I love it. Every time someone hooked a fish, it's like everyone's standing on the bank with like the whole peanut gallery. There's one or two people fishing.
Especially Ethan.
Just like talking shit the whole time. And as soon as someone hooks a fish, it's just like gong show. Everyone's freaking out, like, oh yeah!
There's like so many cameras and
get the tip up, rod tip up.
Everyone's feeling, it's like everyone is all of a sudden, the coach.
Everyone's in the water,
freaking out.
It was
matter, though.
I love it.
That's it's a good point, Aid. It's like there's like 6 of us splashing around, and then like we take 2 seconds,
made no difference,
and it just like boop, oh, next fish. It was awesome.
Oh,
yeah, it was rad. It was a lot of fun.
So that sounds like that was a good day. Then that was a mission accomplished.
That was a really good day.
It was a really good day.
And then it was around that time when the forecast started calling for 1,000 feet of snow over Buffalo. And I was like, I knew you guys were all down there. I'm like, this is kind of crazy, you know? And then what were you thinking? You guys like, oh.
I was not thinking about it.
Yeah, I was just like, whatever, we get stuck. And I'm like, well, I got to get back and open a bar.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's already met.
Everyone's Lake Run Browns are on.
Lake Run Browns are on. Sorry, but actually, it really worked out for us. So Sandy Creek was great. Shout out to Jesse. Like,
he was
obviously
awesome.
really knows that river, and he's just really kind. And shout out to Jim. And it was just a fun day. And just a classic fun day. That's the other thing too, is like because we didn't have to leave anywhere. We like all of our shit was in one place. There was even like a little table. It was like when I was in the Gaspé, like you just put your stuff down and you fish the pool, and then once you're done fishing the pool, the next person fishes the, you know what I mean? Like it's just cool. You have your picnic there and it's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we wake up, the forecast is like it's kind of threatening, but the actual conditions are nice. And Ethan's like, well, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go fish the Niagara River, which, like, Adis and I are like, hilarious, like, lol, because that's on our way home.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, well, then we're not going to spend the last night in the Airbnb. We'll just go home after we're done fishing.
Home.
Yeah.
And which is good because we could, potentially miss this entire storm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we get to the... Like, we fish the Niagara River on our side, and we're in our heads are like, fuck. Because it's like...
It's a hard place to fish.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking dangerous. Like, it's a bit
that's
stressful.
That's a big river.
It's a bit stressful, and I'm just like, it's kind of in our heads as we're driving there, and I'm like... And we're like, well, I guess we'll see, and,
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll see, But then it actually turned out the American side's way better. So next time I fish the Niagara,
Oh
I'm
my
just
God.
gonna hop the border.
So much better.
It's so much better.
Done.
Yeah.
Like
You can actually shore fish. You can wait.
you can wait a little. If the approach is way easier, the parking lot's
Oh.
right there. Like it's better in every single way.
You know what
Go
makes
to
no sense
America.
about this lag? Is that Idas lives underneath Mitch.
Yeah,
live
he's
in the
right.
same
He's literally
house.
below me right now.
Yeah. I could hit him in the
Yeah.
legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
doesn't make any
goodness.
sense.
So, but the Niagara was good though. You guys had water you could fish.
Mm-hmm.
There was good waiting, and then you actually did get into some.
Amber,
There's probably a lot of
would-
people
I
out
would-
there,
like,
though, right?
What now? Having fished the full day there, like, what were you when we got there? Were you like, what the fuck? Because I was. I'm like, every time I go to
Yeah,
Niagara,
it
I'm
was
like, it's
pretty
such a
wild.
scene.
It was wild.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize. It's funny because I mean, I've never fished the Niagara before, especially on the Canada side, so I've only known it from this
Yeah.
perspective. But the water like that can be so deceiving because it looks like it's pretty slow moving, but that current is so strong, and you're watching some of those boats go upstream and fight in that current, and their jets like
Right.
full blast, and they're barely moving. You're like, damn, this is a serious river.
Yeah.
Now I get why Ethan gave us all these pep talks before we went down about safety.
Don't go
And
in
the
the
fact it's
water.
like 100 and it's like 120 feet deep in the middle, right? Like it's just
Crazy.
it's a nuts river. I've never
Yeah.
experienced fishing anything like that before. I fished big rivers, but not quite like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, you're limited in your vantage though for taking pictures because we were stuck on this one bank. You had to go claim your
Right.
area, and then there's
Yeah.
a million fucking boats coming
Oh,
and
yeah.
fishing. Like so, like I can't believe they're pretty much casting right onto the shore where you were fishing.
Yeah.
Like it was
There's no
wild.
rules.
No rules.
Right. It's just the Wild West.
oh
Everyone's
my
just going
goodness.
insane.
They're
Yeah.
all chirping, and I was like, okay.
I will say
Cool.
that's the
Jeez.
one thing the
Yeah, what a
Canadian
scene.
side. I mean, most of those charters are operating from Canada anyway, so it doesn't really
Right.
like, which is also very interesting
Yeah.
in and of itself because like the Niagara River is the border. So
Yeah.
like, what kind of permit
Right.
do you need to run a charter on that river? You
Yeah.
must have. It must
Yeah,
be
it's weird.
kind of pretty unique, you know. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
the one thing where we access it, or an area called the Glen, we're upstream from where we were there, and the current's quite rough, like even rough,
Oh, yeah.
like rougher. So the boats don't get up there. So I
No.
guess at least there aren't any boats on the Canadian side,
Like,
except for
there's those jet boats.
that do the whirlpool tours.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Niagara
yeah, those
Falls,
jet boat,
but it's
which
not
look like super fun.
it's not a fishing. That does look fun. But so I will say on the Canadian
Yeah.
side, at least you're missing the boats, but it's
But you
way
might
too
die.
dangerous. It's way too dangerous
Oh,
for
yeah.
me for it to be. But it was kind of
Right.
cool. Like, I mean, shit. Like, how many fish did Demetria hook into? 5.
Oh
Quite a
gosh, I
few.
don't know, 5. Yeah, she hooked a few after you guys left. So, yeah, it was crazy.
Well, and you can swing for lake trout there,
Oh
right?
yeah,
I just got.
Which is
I just
sick.
hooked one.
yeah.
Yeah, like that's.
And you
that's
can
dope.
actually
Did you
you
land
can
it?
no. I thought it was. I didn't think it. I thought I was snagged. Then I think Aldo was
It was
like,
probably
no, that's a
huge.
fish. And I was like, because there's like lots of rocks and stuff, and you're fishing like
Yeah.
sink tips, and so I'd like gotten snagged a few times, and I was like, oh man, I got snagged again. And then it does that thing where like it'll snag on something, but then the current will hit your like shooting head, and it'll pull it, and you'll be like, oh, that might nope, it's not a fish. And then obviously that was a fish. And I just like saw its back, and I was like, oh, that's a fish.
That was a big
That's
fish.
funny. I
then-
was upstream from Ida's, and I saw his line like swimming against the current. I'm like, no, dude, that's a fish, man.
Yeah.
A fish. Set
And I was
the
like
hook.
way out there, like trying to set the hook, and I'm like, all right. I had it on for a while, and it was pulling. But then it.
Well, I mean, that lake trout that Josh caught last year.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Niagara was massive.
well, you
So,
see a
on
bunch of them
swing,
because they're up there spawning, so they get up right tight to the
Yeah.
bank, and you see them like rolling, jumping out of the water and stuff. They're getting wild in there.
cool.
And you're
You
watching
see
those.
these
so the
boats.
fishing was good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
like you see
yeah.
the boats land fish, because I'm assuming they're using bait. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Chris Chris came out with us again that day, and he
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
got what
Yeah.
2, 3.
He got a
steelhead?
Yeah, you got a steelhead. Yeah.
you got a steelhead and 2
Oh, sick.
Lakers, and
Mm-hmm.
and our pal Brandon from the Hungry Trout was there.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah,
was
sick,
super
right
nice.
on.
Mhm.
Yeah, Brandon's
Yeah,
awesome.
Brandon's great.
Yeah, so that was really good. It was cool seeing Brandon for the day, and Yeah, I was the only thing I was going through my mind because we had all been there before is like, I wonder what Amber's thinking of this whole scene. Coming from Alberta, fishing the Old Man and the slope of the Rockies, and then you're like,
Yeah.
welcome
This
to
is pretty
NASCAR.
Yeah, no
hands
shit.
everywhere.
Like I didn't really. I fished for maybe 10 minutes at the end of the day, but it was a very cool experience to see something like that because you're used to much smaller water where I'm fishing. So yeah.
That's dope.
So
then you guys came back up, and then Amber, you went back to the Airbnb, and then I guess flew out the next day, kind of thing, before the snow.
Yeah, flew
Nice.
to New Jersey. It was an experience. They have one runway, which I didn't know. So
Holy moly!
I spent 7 hours on the plane that day. It was like a 4-hour
Yeesh.
flight home, but an hour on the tarmac there and home.
That's too
and
many hours.
It was a lot.
That's a
And
good
then I lost my bag and
Oh,
Air
man.
Canada.
Air Canada,
classic.
Yeah.
Are you flying with Air Canada if you don't lose your bag?
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
It's
like,
like
okay.
It's like they lose your bag. You're like nostalgia.
No Air Canada.
You're like Air Canada.
Silly goofs. Yeah. Well, it's good you missed the snow because then Buffalo got seriously buried.
Holy moly!
I mean, everybody
Well,
here,
we saw
everybody
we saw
listening
the,
probably saw the pictures.
when we saw that like dark cloud coming in, and Aldo's like, "Should we probably go soon?" And I was like, "Nah, it's fine." And then like the wind would start blowing, and you get like gusts of wind and snow. And we're like, yeah, we should probably leave.
I was like,
But it was totally fine here. Like there was nothing here.
No snow here. I didn't.
No, I was
understand
like,
that.
I was getting ready to
oh.
push a shoot I had the next day, and I was like, "Oh man, like I don't know if this is gonna work." Everyone's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Buffalo did get
it
it
was, like,
though.
fine here.
They all got. They got
Yeah, they
so
did.
much. They got like
They got
5 feet of
got
snow.
Feet
of snow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
But
it'd
honestly-
been kind
Yeah,
of cool
well-
to be in it.
I was kind of saying that, like, if I didn't have to go back home for so many reasons,
Kind of cute. We
kinda
could have
fun.
been.
It would-
we could've been
imagine
in a
if we all got,
hotel,
like-
Shovel.
we all got like snowed in. It would have been fun. I don't know.
Oh, if we were
Yeah,
snowed in that
maybe.
Airbnb, come on.
Amber's like, fuck that. Like, I was going, I'm like,
Fuck that,
no way,
We'd
man.
get some chili going, get into some crispy boys.
Get the cleaners back with their Xbox. And
There you go.
There you go.
And they were,
Done.
yeah.
Watch Point Break 2.
I love it. Well, it sounds like it was a fabulous trip, and
It was
super cool. I mean, yeah.
for us, it was an easy trip. Amber, it was definitely a haul for you. Like, it was just such a what a unlikely trip. Maybe is like because all the places you can do like I think Reddington's starting to call these field trips, which is kind of fun. Of all places to have a photo shoot, you don't really think of I don't think of Rochester. New York, But I'm kind of glad we did. It was kind of cool, like because that's where Ethan from Reddington's from. We've got to have him on the show, and like meeting Chris and Jesse and Jim and David and his girlfriend and that little Rochester scene they're fucking great people.
There was a ton of anglers
They were
there,
awesome.
right? And it's
That's the best part about it, though. Like, you don't have to go to these I mean, it's nice to go to these exotic destinations, but really, you can go anywhere. If there's fish, you can figure out a way to get them and meet some really cool people. So
totally, and every scene's a little bit different, right?
totally.
I feel like Western New York is beautiful in a whole bunch of ways that other places aren't. So
Hell yeah.
it's cool. I dig it. All right, well, we do a segment every show, Amber, at the end of the podcast where we ask the guests the same 5 questions. It's called Mitchie's Fishies 5.
Okay.
So we're gonna ask you them now.
Okay.
There's 5 questions.
They're just kind of broad.
Mitch made them up.
Broad
it's the
fishy
Mitchie's
questions.
Fishies
Okay.
5.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Mitchie's
All right.
Fishies 5.
That was a perfect
I'm
intro.
into
song.
it.
It's 5 questions. Mitch made them up. It's Mitchie's Fishies 5.
Hey, we should write
That's
a little
really good.
A little jingle.
You need a jingle.
I think we can produce that. We should get on that. Okay, first one, Mitch's Fish 5, number 1 is, what is your favorite fish and why? If you had to pick a favorite fish, what would it be?
I would say bull trout are my favorite fish.
Nice.
Not necessarily just from a targeting perspective, but they are Alberta's provincial fish. They're one of our native trout here in Alberta. And I've had the opportunity to experience some very large bull trout in my days, and they're just such cool, unique fish. Seen them, they're super territorial. Seen them take out cutthroat while they have another fish hanging out in their mouth. So They're neat.
cool.
They're a neat fish. So I'd say for sure bull trout.
Amber, may I?
Oh, that's super cool. Yeah.
What's the difference between a Dolly Varden and a bull trout? I asked this in BC and I forgot the answer. And what's up?
There's a difference.
I don't know. Maybe there isn't.
I'm not entirely sure what the actual difference is between a Dolly Varden and a bull trout, but yeah,
They're
There
like
is no
subtly
difference.
different species of bull
There
trout.
might not be a
I don't
difference.
know if
I
it's
just
like
Dolly
genetic.
Varden was a nickname.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious though.
Yeah, me too. I thought Dolly Varden was just a nickname for a bull trout.
See, I thought that
pretty
too.
No, I
actually.
think there is a difference, but
Yeah.
I mean, we can all Google.
well, anyone
Google.
listening out there that might know.
We can all Google
I
it.
know. No,
You
no
gotta-
Googling. Google, we can't Google it.
Yeah.
We can't Google that. Once somebody listening will know the answer, and they'll
Give us
email
a-
us.
Write us a letter.
Yeah,
yes.
please do. I'm
write us a
Googling.
letter.
Send it in the mail.
Okay, number 2, Mitch's Fishies 5 is if you could fish anywhere in the world right now, assuming you'd have the best fishing ever, where would you go and why?
That's a trick one for me because there's like two places that I really want to go to.
Yeah.
I would say I would love to go to Iceland. I've talked about this a lot. I'd love to go out there and fish, and just from a photography perspective, that's a huge one for me.
Yeah.
Also to Bolivia. I really want to catch a golden dorado. I have always loved those fish. I love how aggressive they are. I've always wanted to venture down into the jungle there and go after those fish. So that would be ideal.
With you.
Big time.
Yeah, golden dorados, like top of my list. Those
So
fish
cool.
look so friggin' cool. Jeez, and Iceland too. I saw that story today. I agree. Iceland looks sick.
Yeah.
It'd be so fun.
Like
You should go to Iceland.
I
Let's
know.
go. Like the fishing's good. The scenery's insane. It's not that far.
I would literally
Yeah.
cry probably if I got to go there.
Bring us there,
It's
Mitch.
just so
Bring us
beautiful.
there.
Yeah.
We're going.
Okay.
We're
Thanks,
going to
Mitch.
Iceland. Everybody
Thanks,
get ready.
Mitch.
Get your bags ready. I guess it'd be a little bit further for you, but for us, it's like, what is it, like a 5-hour flight from Toronto?
It's like
not that far.
45 minutes.
Yeah, it's like a quick little hop.
I have a feeling you have to
Hop on a
connect.
sea
Island
zoo.
hop.
I don't. Do you think there's a direct
Nah.
flight from Toronto to Reykjavik?
Probably.
Oh, you better believe there is, baby.
Okay.
There's gonna be.
We're just making shit up.
There's gonna
Dolly
be.
Varden's bull trout are the same thing, and there's a direct flight to Reykjavik. Let's go.
I think
We're
it's a
going.
train, actually.
May I for a second on this? This is Dolly Varden. The first thing that pops up is
Oh.
somebody's blog called fishinwithrod.com. Hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Fish with
Yeah, yeah.
rod.
Often bar fishing in the Fraser
Rod.
River. How amazing is this sentence? Often bar fishing in the Fraser River for salmon. You will often hear people complain, "Ah, not another dolly nibbling on my roe."
I hate when that happens.
Nibbling on my
Nibbling
roll.
on my roe. Apparently, they are two
God.
different fish, but that's another
Yeah.
podcast.
Nah,
Yeah.
I don't buy
Well,
it.
Sounds
stay
right.
tuned for that. Number 3 of Mitch's Fishies 5 is what is your best or favorite fishing memory? Or one of your favorite memories, fishing memories of all time?
I've told this one I think before on on a podcast, but the first time I went to Hawaii, this is quite a while ago. My husband and I went there, and I was a really crap caster. I was only trout fishing. I've never done the saltwater thing before, and our guide, he was awesome. He's a badass. He was an ex-Marine. Like he's probably one of the coolest but scariest people I've ever met in my entire life. He was yelling at me as soon as I was on the platform because I was too wristy in my cast and I couldn't get like the distance I needed. So he was like, "Get the fuck off the platform." And my husband was like, "Wow, I can't believe you're talking to my wife this way. Like, who the hell are you?" But he got up there and he showed me how to properly double haul, and it changed my cast completely. And I was getting like 80-foot casts out, no problem, presenting the fly. To
Awesome.
bonefish out there are different too, because you have to fish super deep water. Like they're, tailing in water that's up to your knees versus your ankles. So presentation is really key out there as well, and anticipating where that fish is feeding. So anyways, he got more line out of me in my cast, and I hooked into a very large bone. He said it was probably like 10, 11 pounds, a huge bonefish, and I totally botched
big fish.
everything. Like I just did a shitty trout set. Everything was terrible. My line got wrapped everywhere. Lost the fish. It was absolutely horrible. We were leaving the next day. I was like, damn it, this was my opportunity.
Oh no.
I messed it all up. And he always played music on his skiff too. And so the song that came on right after that was "Your Time Is Gonna Come" by Led Zeppelin. And it was like so iconic. We're like, driving through going through Kaneohe Bay, right where the Marine base is. There's like Marine helicopters flying over top of us. I just lost this huge fish. The song's playing. It was so epic. And then I went back the next. Epic. Yeah, it was so cool. And then I went back the next year. We went out with him again, and I finally landed my big bonefish. So it was
sick.
Yeah, it was such a cool experience. That fishery is so neat. It's one of the best like saltwater fisheries I've had the opportunity to fish. But went from getting yelled at to increasing my casting ability to catching a big fish. So it was good.
Oh shit! There you go. Mm-hmm. Hawaii. Wow, that does seem like that would be a really dope place to go. Fuck Iceland. Let's go to Hawaii.
It's on the way.
Let's go.
Mitch, you take us?
Yeah.
Actually,
let's go.
Heard...
There's direct flight to Hawaii
for sure. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's a direct flight from Reykjavik to
Hawaii.
To Hawaii.
Oahu.
Or is it on the way?
Yeah.
You can,
Hawaii,
but you can go to Oahu and then go to Christmas Island after and go for GTs. So
Ooh,
that is something people do.
Really,
so
that would be pretty epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds sick. That's a great memory.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's good.
That's really, really cool. That's a big fish too. Wow. Okay, number 4, Mitch's Fishies 5, is why do you fly fish? What do you get out of fly fishing? Why do you keep going back out there?
It's like it's funny because I talked about being like the evolution of an angler. That answer's probably changed for me over the years. But where it used to always be about the fish, but now it's about the experience. I love being in the outdoors. There's a certain like soul healing type property for me when it comes to being outside. I work a full-time job in downtown Calgary in an office building. So it really allows me that opportunity to get away from everything, not have self-service, just like be present in the moment with people that I want to be with, whether it's my family or whoever it might be. So that's really why I do it. And because I've met so many super cool people throughout the years who have become lifelong friends. So I couldn't ask for anything better. And that's honestly what fly fishing has given me over the years.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Yeah, fly fishing is like a really cool conduit too. Just like, experiences and I don't know, just like good stuff. Yeah, it's a great answer.
Thanks.
I love it. The last Mitchie's Fishies 5, number 5, is if you were a fly, what would you be? What fly pattern best represents you as a person and why?
Well, it's an easy one for me. It would, because it's my dad's favorite fly. My dad passed away in 2020. So this is like something I remember him always telling me growing up. It's an elk hair caddis with an olive green body. That was his favorite fly. I have it tattooed on my arm. And I for sure think that if I could be any fly, it would be that one because it's a great fly. It's like your ultimate dry fly, really.
It's a great fly.
It is a great
fly. And a great answer.
That is a great fly.
Thank you.
Yeah, very much so.
Glad
I was very curious what fly you would be, and I love how you knew it so quickly. You knew the answer. That's awesome.
Because some people are like, I don't know, woolly bugger, because I'm just, I can fish or anything. And I'm like,
I can fish anyway.
No offense to everybody who's answered woolly bugger, but like,
it's a good fly. Yeah,
it's great.
It's a good one.
It's a good fly.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good fly. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Amazing. That is the Mitch's Fishies 5. That is the podcast. Amber, thanks so much for coming on the show, and
thanks for having me.
It's cool that you all linked up in New York,
Very
and
cool.
We'll have to link up, like I said, on our trip to Iceland. So
yeah, please.
Iceland,
send me the
Hawaii,
details. I'll be there.
Christmas Island. It's going to be
just a tour.
easy to plan. That sounds easy to plan.
Get Ethan on the horn.
Yeah, exactly.
Ethan. Thanks, Ethan.
Amber, it's like, shameless plug time. Where can people find your photography? How can people consume your content? Or book you as a photographer?
Honestly, primarily just on Instagram. That's what I use the most. That's where I host kind of all my photos. So it's just the Bug Parade on Instagram, and that's probably the best way to get a hold of me. So, yeah.
Right on.
Radical. We'll put if you're listening to this and don't know how Instagram works, come on. Yeah. If you don't, we'll put the link to that in the show notes as well. And, go check out Amber's page. Great photography, and follow along. And, thanks so much for coming on the show again, Amber. It was awesome. And
thanks for having me.
That's it from everybody. Take care. That's it for me, Mitch. I guess we'll finish it up right now, Aldo.
Are we going to finish it up right now?
Okay, well, we'll finish that
Okay.
up. Okay, fine, fair enough. All right. Well, thanks again, Amber.
Okay,
Very nice.
thanks, you guys.
chatting.
Yeah,
so
appreciate
much fun having you on that trip, and I know that you probably had to fight a little bit of jet lag, and we didn't. So it was awesome.
I have to give a quick thank you too to Itis for his first aid abilities in fixing my finger. So thank you.
No problem.
What happened there? What's going on?
I just
We're
cut
removed
my
a part
finger
of
on
her
a
finger.
razor.
Oh, I
Just
see.
a slight fingertip removal, and he had to fix it. So
It's all on camera.
I
Did
just
it heal?
a good standby medic.
Did it heal?
it did, yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even know.
Nice.
It's not deformed either. Honestly, I
So-
put that all on you.
There you go.
Thank you, because I was quite
There you go.
concerned, and he was very calm, cool, and collective.
Way to go, Itis.
Way to go, Itis. MVP. Amazing. All right. Well, thanks,
Okay,
Amber. Have a good
thanks.
one. That is it.